Welcome to the Golden Nuggets.
This podcast is brought to you by Tag Therapy.
So what do we normally do in a sports massage session? Normally we do an assessment first. I will ask you what is your problems and what is restricting you from anything. Then we'll target an area first. Other than that, normally we can start the lower part of the body, which is the calves, hamstrings, and then glutes. Then we go out to the lower back and the upper back as well. So a full session normally will consist of that. And if you're not getting the full session, the full spectrum, we are always aiming to the pain areas that you have, which is the targeted areas. Maybe you have a tennis elbow, maybe you have lower back pain, neck issue. So we'll target the areas that you need first, and then we shall do the full therapy if we have enough time to look to all of it. Yeah.
Nuggets, back to the episode.
Alright guys, we are back with part 3 of the Golden Nuggets podcast, and we have Ustaz Mizi with us.
Yes. So Ustaz, I may have some questions that may be a bit heavy, like me. Okay, but this has been the questions that I've been asking myself, especially recently, because I want to stick to certain principles when I'm building my own businesses. First of all, crypto halal ke tak?
To me, if there is real value in it, I don't believe in the meme coins so much lah. I mean, we all know there's nothing behind it.
Yeah,
there's no real value. It can crash at any time. You can pull the rug at any time. It's not good lah. So I think we need to really study everything that we invest in. Generally speaking, not limited to crypto. Anything that you want to invest in, you need to study it. You need to learn. You need to know what you are putting your money in. Kan? So as long as you know that, you spend time learning it. You're not jumping on it just because somebody told you, or because it's being hyped up. Like, it's viral, I need to go in. More often than not, you will regret. You will lose money, and so, but even if you do make money, you're not making money out of knowledge. And some scholars do make it a point that your investment returns may not be halal, because it's almost like gambling.
Yeah.
So, but if you know what you're putting your money in, you know the kind of value it has. What do you call it in crypto? The back end value. What do you call it? The utilities and whatever. Not right. Then you're good to go, right? Because I know it offers something valuable to the world, to the community, to the industry.
Okay. I want to talk a lot about riba, because
why?
I think you are someone who I can, how to say,
ask about this.
Perhaps the right person to ask. One of the things that a lot of businesses go through, especially during economic downturns, and also with economic downturns, banks will decrease their interest rates. Then they will promote you taking up loans, business loans. What do you think about people using business loans as a way to sustain or perhaps even grow their business further?
Okay, so I think the reason you ask this is because you know that riba in Islam is haram.
Yes.
So we need to get that part out of the way first. Riba has different views. Interestingly, if you read Mu'amalat, where some scholars say not everything that says it's interest, it means it's riba. I think there is a blanket kind of ruling that says, everything that is interest, semuanya riba, and therefore all haram. But even some respected scholars, they say that not everything is the same. Some of the interest, because you nak samakan dengan interest during the times of the Prophet ﷺ, even before that, because even in the Bible they talk about this usually. What was the level of riba back then?
Okay,
because when some did their studies, the riba wasn't like 2.2%, 2.5%. The riba was, if you like Tai Long level lah, macam, loan shark, if I lend you 1,000, you need to pay me 1,005, macam tu lah, like whoa, crazy, like that. So that was more of how it was back then. And some do look at it as administrative fees, facilitation fees, and so on and so forth. But here's my principle. My principle is, as much as possible, avoid.
Okay.
And when it's absolutely necessary tu macam mana? Absolutely necessary tu macam something you've built for so long and it's going to die, not because your business not doing well, but because your clients who were supposed to pay you 60 days ago still haven't paid you, for example. And if you don't take this, then the business will crumble. You have to lay off all your staff, you would lose your income, blah blah blah. Right? So many things affected. So if it's for a temporary measure, a temporary need, and you can get rid of it very fast because you know that there's money coming in and you can pay back quickly and minimize the interest by paying it upfront, of course under penalty and whatever. But if you can settle all of that, then that's okay. But let it not be the first option. Because you can always ask around, ask friends, ask your connections, ask people who are willing to lend, who are willing to invest in your company. Perhaps maybe you want to give up some shares in return for something, so that it helps you to stay afloat. And sometimes that could be the way. And when I said earlier that sometimes things come at the last minute, some of it has been me just reaching out to people and asking if they want to invest in a project or whatever that I'm doing. And then they just say yes in the last minute, and then it helps. So again, if you're an entrepreneur, here's the thing, you want to call yourself an entrepreneur, you must have the mindset that it's never the end until it's really, really the end. Maknanya, try everything. Some, like when I talk to my couples yang nikahkan and they have problems in their marriage, and I'm like, saya tak boleh lah, we're gonna get a divorce. Why? We tried everything already, it cannot work. Okay, tell me everything, list down everything. We tried talk to each other, cannot. And then we tried to go counselling once, he doesn't want to go. That's it lah, that's everything.
Lama.
Dua benda je. Like that's not everything, So the same way, you as an entrepreneur, you give up because tak boleh, I just tried to launch this product, nobody bought it. So try something else.
Try other things,
Nobody's limiting you for anything. Like, figure something out, create something else, sell a service which doesn't require capital, just something, put yourself out there, sell someone else's product and get commission from it. There's so many things you can do as an entrepreneur. There are no limits almost. Yang halal pun banyak, so many options. So don't resort to it if you don't need to. Sit down, clear your mind. Usually you get overwhelmed, stressed because it's so cluttered. And for me, my process of decluttering is sitting down with a piece of paper, write down everything that's on my mind, one by one, and then I see with more clarity, rupanya only these things are my issues, but actually these are all the potential solutions that I can look at. Why am I not looking at them? That's the next question. Takut, malu, embarrassment. Like those are not good enough reasons. If you're a true entrepreneur, you shouldn't be ashamed, embarrassed. Just go.
Sometimes the ego.
Ego is another thing. Your ego will kill you.
What about if, let's say, for example, you have a big purchase order, you don't have the funds, the resources to fund it, except for getting a loan from a bank, for example.
You die want a loan, right? Just take lah.
No, I'm curious because these are legit questions that
so usually like that, people take the bridging loan, for example, because of project. I mean, even I'm in the SMCCI board, Singapore Malay Chamber of Commerce, and we have the SME Centre kat atas, and they have this bridging loan option also. And so we do talk to clients who really have a legit contract, and that they must deliver these items or services, and the cost is very high, so they cannot do it. So you can take something like that, it's a temporary thing, and you try to settle it as quickly as you can. But again, even like that, what I've done before, I pernah dapat a series of contracts, and then what I do is I talk to a couple of people, investors, and then they support lah. It's short term. They help me get through this period before I get paid, and then the moment I get paid, usually by the end of the year, so it's really like 1 year or less, and then they get paid back. So, there are people who are willing to support.
So would you say seeking for investment is a better option than getting a loan?
This guy asked the tough questions. Who knows what is better, what is not? I don't know. I think you need to know your own situation. You need to know your own projects, your cash flow, your because you know how responsible you are handling other people's money.
Right.
Some people are not so responsible. Dia dapat investment money, they go and buy things that are necessary rather than covering the basic costs.
Right.
And then when the time comes, they don't have it to pay back, and so that's problematic. So you need to learn how to manage your risk, your income, your expenses, and so on and so forth.
What about housing loans?
I thought this was a business podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the business people get into is a real estate, business where people invest in properties. They put in maybe 25%, and the rest they leverage it with the bank, right? This is, I believe, this is a legit business question, lah.
Yeah, I mean, I was invited to property investment seminar once, and somebody asked this question also. So, I think if I remember, this is how I answered it. I said that always look at it as, okay, are there other investment opportunities first? Always like that. Always prioritize what's halal first, what's available first. Don't just jump to something that's not halal just because you can.
Okay.
Second of all, if you look at it as, but property is very expensive in this land, if we don't secure it, and if we say that we as a community might lose out and others get ahead of us, blah blah blah, if you think it's really going to be that bad, then okay. But if it's out of greed, then it's not. Like, you just keep on doing it. And you could have diversified and go and find something else. You could invest in someone else's business and also grow. Why not do that? Why not help other entrepreneurs? Why not show that you believe in them? I think there are not enough people who believe in those who are just starting out before they make it big. And I think we need to believe in people before they make it bigger. And I speak from experience as somebody. When I started out 15 years ago, it was hard to get people to support you. Nobody knows you. Now if I speak, people say, "Alah, orang tahu lah, Mizi, Safina." But I started out like you too. Nobody knew me. So susah, and in the beginning it's always tough. But if you have others in the community who would give you a chance, who are willing to support you, even if it's in a small way, that would be wonderful, man. It would be really wonderful. So to me, to answer your question, I think that's like the last option. Yeah, as much as possible, don't borrow to invest. You invest when you have the means.
Because like just now you mentioned about Robert Kiyosaki and perhaps even Grant Cardone.
I know his book. His third book that I bought was A Guide to Investing, and he talks about this a lot. So you as a reader, you must have a critical mind, lah. You don't just accept everything. You need to okay, what's okay in Islam and what's not okay.
Hence the question.
Right.
Okay. Right. What about so like housing loans for Singaporeans, because the price of the house is expensive over here, is permissible, right? But what about the same housing loan, but you want to get for example, you want to upgrade because a lot of real estate agents 2 years ago, 2 years ago, they encourage heavily on asset progression, right? So is this then permissible?
If it aligns with a certain need as well. For example, if you have a big family and you think that, okay, I need a bigger house, so I used to stay in a 3-room and I think I need to move to a 5-room, for example. If it makes sense, because it's also part of a need, and this is how almost everybody purchases a house here. Like almost nobody pays cash. I would say maybe 10% maybe pay cash. The rest of us don't. So it's not like you are going outside of the norm and doing something that is different just for the sake of it. You're not. You're really doing it because everybody's affordability level is about the same again. And so in that case, okay, by all means, And if you can also foresee, like anticipate, okay, whatever that I'm doing right now, eventually if I sell it, there's some profit for me, right? And then after that I can downgrade. Because why? Because now maybe the need is different. Why? Because now my kids are grown up, they got married, they now have their own house. Now I can downgrade and I get some of the money back. But it's from asset to asset to asset to asset. And so you're just moving to different asset classes, and you are benefiting from it along the way. You are meeting your need as a nafka provider, a roof over your family's head. So yeah, I think it's okay.
But is that a strong enough reason? Because we have seen a lot of stories where people with 10 children living in a small 3-room flat. So is that a strong enough reason for us to be saying that because this is a norm, because this is the affordability level, just because we want to upgrade because we have a bigger family now? Is that a good enough reason then?
I'm just waiting for when is the last difficult question he's going to ask me. But I'm just staring at him because I'm like, you really think that's a good quality of life, squeezing 12 people inside a 2-bedder? So it doesn't make sense. Also. Like that's not ideal. So I don't think we are asked to live to that extent. In the Quran, Allah says, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Do not forget your portion of this dunya as well. You can, live comfortably if you want to, if you can, and ensure the best for your loved ones. And just now we spoke about how a man struggles when he cannot provide. Imagine a man squeezing all his children, his parents in a small house like that. I don't think he's happy every day. So I think, it's about mental health, it's about emotional well-being, it's about lifting your whole family and allowing your children to see what's possible. You're inspiring your children as well along the way, teaching them your principles and your how to be ambitious, things like that. You need a bit of everything. You cannot just like one style, one method. This is the only way we're going to live our life. And so it's a combination of many things.
Okay. One last question.
What about my dog? My dog wants a house, Ustaz. Can I?
One last question. It's a simple one. Maybe the hard one after the podcast.
Follow-up questions.
Yeah. Okay, so we have this question from a listener. The person was asking, is reselling replicas of luxury items when the buyers actually know that it is a replica, is that permissible?
So I think this one touches on intellectual property.
Okay.
Right? And I think we should respect other people's intellectual property. This is how you don't like other people to take what's yours. I don't think you should take what belongs to other people. Yeah. So I think as a matter of principle, I wouldn't want to do that. And I think don't do again, like, why not just do something of your own, create something of your own, build your own brand? Why not?
Rather than copying and making it a replica.
What if you could create an, how some people, let's say like iPhone cover, and then they, how Apple sells those horrible covers, kan? So their covers, then you check, I want to replicate those covers, and then you what? Like, why? Just create something different, and other people might like yours, which I think is true. People buy non-Apple covers more than the Apple one. So that's what I agree. Create something else.
Okay. I think we can call it a day. Then we ask more hard questions after the podcast.
Help me, guys. Help me.
You have any other questions? Deep questions about business? Okay, cool. Right, okay, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Golden Nuggets podcast. So, if there's nothing else, we wrap the show.
Yep.
Thank you, Ustaz Mizi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Bye-bye.